You're listening to the ND Community Podcast, a podcast that helps naturopathic doctors quantum leap their impact. I'm your host, Jackie Nolke, also known as Dr. J. I am the co-founder of ndcommunity.com along with my husband, Dr. Rob Nolke, ND, and we are so excited to bring you all this information that's going to help you make a massive impact on this world. Now let's get to it. Hey everyone, we're on episode number 6, and today's podcast is all about patient retention for naturopathic doctors. Now, I cover a lot in this podcast, so make sure you go to ndcommunity.com/episode 6, the number, you don't have to spell out 6, and get access to our ultimate patient retention guide. It's totally free, and it goes along with this podcast, and it's going to help you really understand all the information that I'm giving you today. All right, now let's get to it. As a naturopathic doctor, you've probably spent some time learning and implementing ways to attract new patients. But how much of your time or how much of your strategy involves keeping the patients you have? Now, you may be thinking, okay, I want my patients to be healthy, so I don't want them to have to come to me because they're so healthy that they don't need that. I'm not in the business of keeping people sick. And that is absolutely true. You don't need to be in the business of keeping people sick to have patients continuously come to you. Now, you want patients to be coming to you because they are getting preventative care. And naturopathic doctors, as you know, are very qualified to do this. They're uniquely qualified to give preventative care. And there are ways that you can implement different preventative care programs and memberships and services that will encourage your patients to come to you for all their preventative needs. And there's a chance they're not even going to anyone else for preventative needs, and that they are then might be getting sick more frequently than they need to be. And then also you want them to choose you, right, whenever they do need to come to you for something you specialize in. So today I'm going to talk about patient retention. And patient retention is so incredibly important because it can cost up to 7 times more. Again, 7 times more it can cost to attain a new patient than to keep one that you already have. Plus, when you have patients who become really loyal to you, then they are much more likely to recommend you to their friends, and then that cuts down on your costs even more because you're not having to spend as much money on attaining new patients. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This episode number 6, complements a free resource we have. It's the Ultimate Patient Retention Guide. And you can get that if you go to ndcommunity.com/episode 6. There'll be a link to where you can get this free resource. So the first thing you want to consider is, again, you don't just want to be thinking about how to make sales to new people or how to get new people into your practice. You are trying to really, really focus on the customer aspect, on the lifeblood of your business, which are your current patients. So you want to make their experience VIP. You want to make them feel like it's an experience, not just like they are coming into a doctor. And what's happening is I've done a lot of research and study on current trends, current medical trends and current consumer behavior. And everybody is kind of wanting this extra treatment and they want convenience. And so you really need to consider that when you are developing any kind of patient retention plan. So the first step, you're going to need to know your numbers. So if you are not taking down and not really, really specific on what you are spending on what in your practice. So you need to know what all your expenses are. And you might have a bookkeeper for this, and that's awesome. I suggest that you do get a professional to help you with this, but make sure you know your numbers so you know how much you're spending on marketing, how much it's costing you to attain new patients. And then you can also research and really kind of find out how much it's going to cost you to develop some of these strategies that we'll mention today. And what you'll find over time is once you start developing a patient retention plan and start implementing it, that your cost will come down more and more. So there might be some initial investments on things like making your waiting room more comfortable or in a text messaging system. But over time, that will all even out and it'll be way worth the cost. So again, know your numbers, and also you want to make things as easy as possible. So you want to make your patients who have already seen you, you want to make it very easy for them to be able to schedule their next appointment. So you want to have online booking, and if they need to change their appointment, you want that to be easy as well. So you really want to do that. The next thing you want to do is you want to be very personable with your patient. So you want to develop a relationship. Relationship building is one of the key factors on if you are going to be able to keep the patients that you have. So you want to, again, make them feel like you really, because you want to show them how much you care about them. So when they make an appointment, you want to have them a couple days before their appointment, have them confirm their appointment through a text reminder. And you want to make that personal. You don't want to just respond yes if you are coming to your appointment, or no if you're not. Make it something like, we're excited to see you. If you have any questions, please contact our office. If you would please do us a favor and respond 1 if you are coming, or 2 if you need to reschedule. Something like that, but make it a little personal and not just really dry. And then you also want to have a professional website that has all your information on it. You want it to have a commonly asked questions section, so that if a patient has a question before seeing you, they can get that answer really quick. Obviously, your address needs to be clear, your phone number. If you are taking telemedicine appointments, how they can log on to that. Make everything very clear and easy and professional looking, because nowadays everyone needs a professional looking website. And you also want to, if possible, get a patient portal for your website, so that in between appointments, patients can log in and see what their treatment plan is, what vitamins are they supposed to be taking when, and they can message you through there if they're having any trouble. Maybe they're really sensitive to a certain vitamin, they're not adjusting very well. Well, then they can let you know through that patient portal, and it's much more likely that they're going to, again, feel like they have a relationship with you, know that you really care about their experience and their health, and that's going to make them feel really loyal to you. And then you also want to make sure that your website is easy to find. So this comes down to good SEO, which is search engine optimization. So that's for another podcast. I can go much more in depth in that, but you might want to research that or have your web developer explain that to you. If you are if you use a blog on WordPress, you can use a free plugin called Yoast that will help you maximize your blog posts for good SEO. And so this just makes to where if they're going to just search your practice, it comes up quickly in their search engine. And so that's just another way that it can be easy for them to find you when they need to get into their patient portal or reschedule an appointment or contact you for any reason. And then you also want to have an updated business listing on Google, because now everybody Googles, that's how the term Googling when you search, and you want someone, if they go in and search you, that it comes up again. This helps. Again, just like SEO, this will help. And also it'll show your phone number and your address. So if a patient needs to look up real quick how to get there or real quick how to get a hold of you, they can do that. So this next thing might be a little different than anything you've done, but if you have a waiting room, go and spend some time in your own waiting room, like 30 minutes at least, and just see how it feels in there. Like, what, are you super bored? Are you relaxed? Is it comfortable? Are there things for you to do? What could you provide in your waiting room to make the experience that much better? Like, to make it feel like, okay, even if I have to wait, it's not a big deal because I'm so comfortable. It feels so luxurious in here. I'm relaxed. That kind of experience is what you want to create. So spend some time in your waiting room, and hopefully your patients don't have to wait, because we know patients don't like to wait. But in the case that they do, you want it to feel super comfortable. You don't want them to be super bored. You want them to be relaxed and enjoying their time in there. And so get creative on how you can do that. And of course, you want to have enough parking. If you have limited parking space, have any employees or yourself park on the street or in the back. You can also ask people, if you share a parking space, if you can have some dedicated to your practice. They might want you to pay them for that or something, but you can negotiate that and see if it's worth it or not. Another thing you can do is have payment options. So we know a lot of naturopathic doctors don't take insurance. And for those of you that don't, or if you want to have programs that are cash-based, you can provide different payment options and you can get creative with this. So you can design payment plans that make your services feel more affordable. And you can add on different bonuses and things of that nature so that people aren't overwhelmed when they are paying for your services. And we know, I definitely recommend you charge what you're worth. I'm not saying lower your prices. That doesn't serve you or anyone else either. But making payment plans can make it to where people who wouldn't be able to just pay out in one time, that they can spread it out over time and makes it easier for them. And so there's a lot of research out right now, and you probably have already recognized this, but there is a big push in consumer trends towards telemedicine. So if you are not already doing telemedicine appointments, I suggest you really consider that. This way, especially with follow-up appointments and things like that, that makes it very easy for any patient to hop on their computer and meet with you. So definitely think about that and look into that if you're not doing that already. And so another way that to really help raise your patient retention rates is to create a membership program. So this is a awesome strategy, I think, that and this is very successful with patient retention. So what you can do is you could offer a bundle with lots of different services that you have, like massage, hydrotherapy, homeopathic, your naturopathic services, things like that. And they can pay a monthly fee for X amount of things they're getting. So if they're getting 2 massages per month, a hydrotherapy session, and a appointment with you, for example, then that would be X amount of dollars. You could also do one to where they sign up for a year and they will have X amount of appointments for a year for X amount. So maybe they get 12 appointments in the year for, I don't know, $5,000. I'm just pulling that up. I haven't thought about those numbers, but you get the point. So just think about that. Think of creative ways you can create a membership program, because that is going to really, really, really help your patient retention. I promise. And so this next pointer is so big. And if you're not doing this already, right now after this podcast, sit down and develop a strategy for this. So you need to be surveying your patients regularly. And so research shows that patients like to be surveyed, but they don't like it right immediately after their appointment. They like it, but they do like it to be within 1 or 2 days. So just keep that in mind with your delivery. And they like it to be through email. So develop a short survey. Don't make it super long, but have open-ended questions like, what is it that you like most about our practice? Or what could we improve most about our practice? Are there any services you wish we provided? Maybe even those just 3 are really powerful ones. And you can use a free service like surveymonkey.com to create the survey if you want. But it's super important because not only does it tell you how you're doing, it tells you what you can adjust. It helps you understand what your patients are wanting. And so it's market research. So you can understand the trends of what's going on, what patients are wanting, and you can develop a strategy for implementing those things in the future. And then I know a lot of you do this, and that is awesome. And those that you don't, you really should consider it. But develop a way that you can educate your patients. So this is like giving talks, giving a webinar. You can do Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives or educate them on your social channels, but just share your information. Share how you are the expert. That again is going to make them feel like you're an authority in the space. So you want to really focus on educating. And this goes straight into the next suggestion, which is become their go-to source for all things health. Again, on your Instagram channel, on your Facebook, you're giving out so much great information on whatever it is that you specialize in, that they're always going to come to you when they want those answers. They're going to tell their friends about that too. They're going to be like, you need to listen to Dr. Smith. She's awesome. Look, go to her Instagram feed. She knows everything about fertility. That's just an example. So we talked a little bit before about really making your patients feel like they are like in a VIP experience. And so that is something that you really don't want to ignore at all. And everybody on your staff, if you have a front desk person, or if you have a staff, if you have any other people that are working in your clinic or practice, you need them all to be extremely friendly. And this might seem like, well, of course, but in surveys, they found that most patients felt like their doctors were really friendly, but that they didn't have as friendly interaction with staff at private practices and at clinics. So just keep that in mind. And so you really need to train your staff to be on it as far as being very professional and friendly, and not just, a little smile, like friendly, like you would treat someone that you are really excited to see when they walk in that door. And so make sure you really, really drive that point home when you're training your staff. And like I like to say, give your patients the Oprah treatment. So if Oprah were to walk in your door, how would you treat her? And that's how you and your staff should treat every single one of your patients. So you got to get creative and think of ways that you can make each visit to your clinic seem like an experience. So what are you doing? Are you offering them hot tea, or, lemon water, or a hot towel, or do you have massage chairs? What are you doing to make this experience feel awesome? Like you want to go there. Like you're not dreading going to the doctor. You're excited to go. Of course, you want to return phone calls promptly. You don't want patients to have to wait. Like if they call you and have a question about something, or if they need to reschedule, you do not want them to have to wait to get their phone call returned. So make sure you return your phone calls promptly, and that you also let them know when you return phone calls. So for example, if someone on your answer machine, if someone calls during the weekend, you could say, we don't return phone calls until Monday, or we return phone calls between 2 and 4, or whatever it is you want to say, but make sure you let them know so they're not just wondering. And of course, you don't want to get too far behind. So try to be realistic with your scheduling. And so people aren't having to wait in your awesome waiting room. So just make sure you try to be realistic about your scheduling. So if you're just starting out, just give yourself extra time. And once you have been practicing for a while, you know about how long it's going to take you. Of course, things run over, especially with naturopathic doctors. You're spending a lot of time asking a lot of questions and diving deep into their health problems, and you're like a detective and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And sometimes that takes time, but it's good to not let them have to wait too long. Obviously, that's when people get frustrated and write bad reviews and might not come back. And if they do have to wait long, you could implement something very simple like, okay, you get a $5 gift card towards our practice for a massage, or you get a free 5-minute massage, or something like that. But just try to really be conscious of how your patients are going to feel when they're waiting in your waiting room. And you want to be proactive. So, sorry, I'm going to drink a little bit of water. So, of course, there are times when things aren't going to be running perfectly at your practice. So you want to be proactive and make sure, if you're running really behind, if something's happened, if you're going to be running late, maybe you got in a car wreck on the way there, God forbid, but you want to make sure that you have a system in place to where your employees will let them know, hey, we're running a little late. Would you like to reschedule? Things like that, instead of just having people waiting around wondering what's going on. And then this is something really powerful to do, and I actually learned this a while back from my mother-in-law. She went to see it was actually an acupuncturist in Austin, Texas, and he called her before her appointment and just asked her, if she had any questions and things like that. And then he also did a follow-up call. This is for her first time in there, and asked her how she was feeling. And she was blown away. She still talks about it, how it made her feel really comfortable going in there, how it just made her feel like he was going the extra mile. So if you can do this for the first time your patients are coming in, can be an extremely powerful tactic. And it also, again, helps you build that relationship. And then also do follow-up calls for any time you think that it would be beneficial. So maybe someone got their first B12 shot. Maybe do a follow-up call. How are you feeling, Or maybe someone that sometimes can be super sensitive to supplements, and sometimes is a very sensitive person when it comes to taking supplements. I know I'm actually that way. You can maybe call them, like, I just put you on this, how are you feeling? How are you adjusting? And that way you can counsel them through that. And, okay, so every once in a while, even though you are amazing at what you do, even though your staff's amazing, everyone's friendly, you're going to have upset patients sometimes. And that's just kind of part of it when you have a business. So when you have this, it can obviously be very frustrating because you're doing everything that you can do, but just try to handle them very, very calmly and professionally. Show empathy as much as you can and just try to solve the situation. And so a lot of times it's a lot easier just to be like, okay, what can we give you to make this right? Even if you don't feel like you're in the wrong. And that's just because you don't want them going to Yelp and Google and Facebook and everywhere else and saying how horrible you are when you're not. You're trying to protect your reputation, which you've put a lot of hard work into being the amazing doctor that you are, and you don't want someone who's upset or had a bad day for whatever reason taking it out on you publicly. So just try to squash that as fast as you can, and just try to take a deep breath and try to give them what they need in order to be, if not happy, at least somewhat satisfied, to where they're not going to go out and blame their bad day on you. And so the next thing that I suggest is you really want to make sure you have all your patients' information. Like when they first call you, you want to make sure, or when they're booking their appointment, you need their name, obviously. You need their email, their phone number, and their address, because you're going to want to send them thank you cards, and you can send them a birthday card or New Year's and Thanksgiving cards, and you want them to really feel part of your family. And so you're going to need as many ways you can to contact them. And if they go AWOL, if they're not coming to their appointment, you want a way to where you can contact them. And it might be hard to get them through email, or phone might be hard, but you need different ways that you can get in touch with them. And so if you start to implement this, you really need to, again, track your results. So how much are you spending on these initiatives, and what is your churn rate now? So a churn rate means the amount of patients that are leaving your practice and not coming back. So you want to have a goal. So maybe your goal is for you to see each patient at least once every 6 months, or whatever it is, 3 months, whatever it is you want to do, but you want to have a goal, and then you can count them as leaving your practice after a year or something if you haven't seen them. And so again, with the reviews, you want to be able to handle them properly. So handle them fast. If you get a bad review on Facebook or Google or Yelp or whatever it is, respond and just say, we really want to make this right. Please contact our office and we will do what we can to help you. Because that just shows anybody else that's going to look at the message, they're going to see that you've responded, see that you care, and see that you are trying to make whatever it is right. So that's super important. And so let's just talk about a little bit about the doctor-patient interactions. So little things go a really long way, like knowing their name when they walk in, like knowing something a little bit about them. So if they were talking to you about their puppy last time they were in, you can ask how their puppy's doing, and you can make notes of this on their charts. You also want to make sure you explain everything in a way they can understand it. So when you're doing a treatment plan, make sure they understand what you're giving them and why, and what the next steps are and why. It can be extremely frustrating for someone who is not a doctor to walk out and be like, I don't know what just happened or what we're doing. I don't really understand. I'm taking this, but I don't know why. And a good idea too is to have patient appreciation days. So we're trying to make them feel like they are part of your practice family. So invite them to your practice, their families, their friends, and have healthy foods and beverages and maybe some games for kids. And just do this every once in a while. I mean, do this every 3 months or so, and just have them really feel like they are part of your family. And celebrate with them. Again, we were talking about earlier about how you want to have their email addresses and their actual address so you can send them cards. Maybe you're going to send them an e-card or a actual like in the mail card, which I think is actually even more powerful. But you want to send them cards on their birthday, on New Year's, Thanksgiving. You want them to feel again like they're part of your family. Like if you're going to send your family cards for a certain occasion, send them to your patients too. It'll go a long way. And the last tip I'm going to give you today is to give back. So being part of the community and giving back to different aspects of your community, not only is that awesome because you are helping out your community and you're becoming someone who is looked up to in that sense, but also it helps your patients feel like they're part of something. So they know by supporting you, you support the community, then they are much more likely to continuously come to you for their health needs. So that is all I have. That kind of sums it up. I highly suggest you get our free patient retention guide. It kind of explains all of these in detail. And if you have any questions ever, you of course can email us at info@ndcommunity.com. And again, you can get the notes for this podcast and this guide at ndcommunity.com/episode 6. And if you would like, we have a brand new thing out. If you're in the US, we will have Canada soon, but if you're in the US and you would like updates on all the free stuff we have, when we release something new for you, then you can text 31996. You can text the word or the 2 words, ND space community. And we will send you links to all the free stuff that we have when they come out. So that is all we have for today. Hope you are having a beautiful day. It is finally becoming spring around here in the Chicago area. I hope it is sunny and in the 70s where you're at. Just beautiful. So we'll talk to you real soon. Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening. Massive gratitude to you all. If you liked the episode, go ahead and please give us a rating and a comment on iTunes. That'll help us get this message out to as many NDs as possible. And I also just want to give you an update on ND Community at ndcommunity.com. So we have right now an amazing free resource library that you can become a member of, and it has some mindset, some marketing and business and leadership and all kinds of resources in there for you. So make sure to go ahead and get your free membership, and you can do that at ndcommunity.com. You'll scroll down and you will see where you can click a button and get into that membership. And you also have the opportunity to, if you want, become part of our team as an affiliate. And if you would like that, we are rounding up some amazing NDs that are helping us with this project. And if you would like to be a part of that, please email us at info@ndcommunity.com and we will give you the information. All right, that's all we have for today. Y'all have a great day.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.